Happy Friday, traders. I hope you're all doing well. I just want to do a quick video rundown on Friday, 8th of July. So we start with our prediction last night. We were around this level, right? Okay. So, I made the prediction about 6 o'clock. We're going to go up into H1 supply, then dropped to the high value node, and then drop down close to the weekly POC into the H1 demand. Okay, so imagine you're working at Goldman Sachs, you're the trader, and your analyst has been up since 3 a.m., hands you this, tells you to get your short orders in for your clients here. We're up. We know the bias is down. Okay, we've wiped yesterday's high and we've placed no trades, no shorts. Going down here, still no shorting, and in fact, I'm trying to go long below Frankie low. Drop, and none of us are short at this point. So imagine you're telling your boss at Goldman, Matt, we didn't manage to get any shorts. They would fire you on the spot. So basically, I think this is unacceptable. We kind of fucked up today. I fucked up. There was a lot of signs. So this isn't a standalone prediction. This is based on a lot of different analysis, intra-market analysis, a lot of it coming from the dollar index and so on. So I don't just draw random lines. This is like a firm prediction. But your forecast is worth nothing if you don't make money out of it, okay? Forecasts are worth nothing unless you actually have money in your bank account. It's all about the execution and actually getting the trade. So we were talking about continuation plays the other day, and for me it's now completely urgent. So I'm going to work on this over the weekend, how we're going to do this and integrate it into setup 3. So let's go over some examples of how you could do a continuation play. Not that hard, right? Let's look. I mean, we wouldn't be awake at this time, but let's look at something like this. We've got an M1 FVG here. We're in a supply zone. We're dropping a leg out. Then we do this little compression up into the FVG. So let's have a look at the order flow and just see how it looks. So what you have an imbalance here, 28.0, imbalance there, 0.5. So this level is structure, okay? If you have 0 side imbalances, that's a proxy for structure. It doesn't matter if they're filled or not. Okay, ideally they're not filled, but it's structure, okay? And what you see, these M1 candles lining up below it, and that's exactly what you want to see, especially on low volume. When you see that level of structure and these low volume candles just failing to break above, okay, they do poke above, that's a surefire sign that you want to go short, okay? So that's your first continuation play. Boom. Okay, of course, we're not awake at 5, well, I'm awake at 5 a.m., but I'm not placing trades at this time. So we do have this level, the 0.21 that we're waiting to get hit. We also have our key levels marked out. But they're mostly for reversal plays, and the Frankie high doesn't get wiped. Okay, these kind of equal highs do get wiped, so we could have got an opportunity around here somewhere maybe. But the play is clearly down. We should be looking for continuations, and we know this before going in. So I just want to go through a couple that Jay pointed out. Jay is one of our superstar traders, probably one of the traders with the most potential that I've ever seen. Absolutely delighted that he's on board and contributing actively to the group. So these are two that he pointed out. So we look here, okay, just above the Frankie low, and we've got this little M1 order block and this little cluster that goes below it. So, well, we don't really know much on its own. We could short that, but we don't have a lot of evidence until we look at the order flow. So let's go in and have a look. I believe it's this one. So we have this 16.0 and a 9.0, so that's the structure level. And we have this run up, it doesn't quite close above. This is kind of a little compression. And then it drops. Okay, so it meets the structure level, it fails to close above, and it drops. So that's kind of a continuation play. Okay. If we have the imbalance marked out, there's probably other factors we can look at, such as the volume, right? We've got kind of low volume, a bit like that low volume lineup in the previous example. Okay, so that's a pretty good one. Now we're starting to introduce variables here. Okay, we've got the size of the imbalance. Does it cross several candles, the imbalance? And remember, the imbalances are a proxy for structure, support, and resistance. The size of the imbalance, usually the stronger the structure level, just remember that. If it crosses several candles, then it carries more weight. It's worth more. So that's a variable that we can introduce. Another variable is absorption. Is there any absorption happening at the levels? Another one is volume, as we've just pointed out. If we're retesting these imbalance levels, so we don't want increasing volume, we want low volume, okay? We want a kind of failure of the other side to break that imbalance, which is like a proxy for structure. And the other variable is that kind of lining up of candles. Whenever I see that, I think below a structure level, that's a surefire sign that's gonna, well, drop if it's underneath or fly if it's above. So that was one good example Jay pointed out. And another one. Okay, it isn't in an ideal position, this one, but it's still pips. So here, Tesla, a little order block, a little drop base drop. That alone's probably not enough. So what do we have? We have imbalances here. We have a failure to close above. We have what looks like absorption. And we have absorption in these two candles. Okay, positive delta, but they're dropping. So we've got some of the variables there. We've got the candles lining up under the imbalance. We've got a bit of absorption here. So these are variables that we can add in to our model. So yeah, it's another good one from Jay. Oh, I hope I didn't mix those up actually. Let me double check. Sorry about this. I'm just I'm starting to think I've mixed up the yeah, I'm really sorry about that. Okay, so this one was actually for the top example. Sorry, it's like 9:30 here. I'm clearly, my brain's totally fried. So this was for the top example, and this one was for the bottom example. Okay, you got that 16.0, that 9.0, then that failure to close above, which is really important. Then the volume kind of drops off. Apologies for that, getting them mixed up, but the principle is the same basically. So we're going to try and turn that into a model where it's like hard numbers. We don't want to be interpreting it on the fly, thinking, is that a good imbalance or is that a good absorption? We want to have like hard numbers applied to those. So I want to show a trade that I took and I entered here long. Okay, so we're on H1 demand, and I just need to show you the Dixie. There's a few clues to go along here. Okay, Dixie structure is starting to change. Lower lows, lower highs. Okay, and I'm in around here, starting to break lows. So I'm thinking it's done its liquidity grab above these highs and it's going to start dropping. So that was one clue. The other one, talking about imbalances being proxies. There was a ton of big imbalances here. 0.12, 12.0. There's one there, so this is clearly structure, 1934. So I thought I'll take a chance and enter here while it was rising. And it was starting to break structure, not at the time of entry, but when I saw it starting to break structure, I thought, okay, we might be onto something here. So I held on to it. I had my stop at break even at this point, and it came down and did that thing where it's low volume and just lining up above the structure. That's a very common pattern in GU. So let's just have a look. Yeah, just lining up above my entry. So I'm letting it breathe. I took my stop off, which I quite often do if I have a good reason to. And at this time, it's getting. I'm wanting to take a break because I've had like a really frustrating, exhausting morning, and I'm just feeling out of it. So I put my stop below this low, and I went for a walk. I went for a good like hour and a half walk. Placed my stop. It was like 7 pips or something below this low. And then I kind of left here, and I expected to be taken out basically. I waited for the rise and then put my stop at break even, right? So I'll just show. That's the evidence, 944. I'm in from 33, set stop to break even. Here we go. NFP day, death or glory, targets Asia low, blah blah blah. Dixie's done its grab, and we may get up in GU. I'm saying that at 956. 10:15. I'm gonna let this trade breathe, but I put my hard stop on now, and then I'm walking away. And yeah, that's it basically. So I'm walking away at this point. So just by pure luck, I had no hope for this basically, but there was a few clues saying it would be a good trade. And sure enough, it goes up to my target, Asia low. So that turned out to be 8.2R. So not the worst trade in the world. It's alright. It was a good consolation prize for missing all these obvious sells. So I'm gonna work on this like all weekend basically until I come up with a good model that we can all agree on and test. Because I don't want something that's like maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I want something that's got hard numbers that we can all agree on. Now there's an example. I think I brought it down here. Let's have a look. Yeah. Example here is like, this is ideally what you want to see. You want to see a big imbalance. You want to see a test of it and a rejection, and then absorption, right? An up close candle with negative delta. And then you can enter and put your stop below the imbalance, and away you go. So that's kind of like your ideal situation for a continuation trade. So yeah, that's it. It was like an 8R that I got. Oh, sorry, one really important thing that I need to point out, and the biggest reason for this trade is now, sorry, get rid of all this shit, is that we wiped the weekly point of control. So that is now a key level in my eyes. I've been watching this for a while. We have a bunch of key levels based on session highs and lows, daily highs and lows, and etc. So we wiped the weekly POC, which acted as support. I had my imbalances as a proxy for support. The volume was good, it was declining after this drop. Dixie was supporting me. We were on H1 demand, so I just went for it. I don't take these trades randomly. I do put thought into everything that I do. The rest of the day was just NFP madness, up and down, up and down. We watched it for fun. We had some good discussions with some of the new members, but I don't trade this stuff. It's pure casino gambling. There's no point, up and down, up and down. I mean, how do you make money out of that realistically? It's just a slot machine, so it's pointless. You're best to trade your edge. Do things that you know will work, that have evidence behind them. That's how you get an edge. Now, there were plenty of examples here. These were quite good from Jay. Definitely the kind of thing we want to see. This hypothetical one was really good as well, but purely hypothetical because we had that lineup of candles under a large-ish imbalance then on an FEG. So that's our variables that we need to think about. Okay, so FEG, size of imbalance, does it cross several candles, absorption, volume, and that lining up of candles that we talked about. So that's basically it. I mean, it was real disappointment to forecast this drop, this whole thing, and I get absolutely nothing from it because I was following my system to the T, and we didn't get any entries, even though we knew it was going to drop. So continuation trades is going to be the new setup 3, because it was just unacceptable today for me. It was just like an embarrassment, quite frankly. So I think it's good to admit your mistakes, confront them, and sort them out. And we'll have this solved. I'm actively working on this now, because we've got all the tools. We've got the order flow, we've got knowledge of price action, we've got knowledge of levels. I think we can nail this one, so I'm feeling really optimistic. And even if we don't catch them, we can still catch trades, later in the day using logic. So that's it, really. That's all I have to say today. Thank you for listening. Have a great weekend, and we'll absolutely kill it next week. I think, in fact, I know we will with the great team we have now. So thanks for all the new joiners, and thank you for listening, and have a wonderful weekend.